guys, welcome to the T1 Daily Show. I'm Sam, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about some diabetes memories with my dad, Scott. So I remember when I first got diagnosed, our biggest concern was, well, Samantha can't go to summer camp. Well, my biggest concern was Samantha can't go to summer camp because I'm pretty sure you had bigger concerns. But, you didn't know if you could just give your daughter who had just gotten sick and you had to monitor my blood sugars to somebody else to watch and, give them that kind of responsibility. But I know we always talk about like finding diabetics in the wild. Turns out, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the owner of the camp was actually diabetic. And knew everything, and we had no problems in the end. And I think that was our first step into realizing that we could go back to normal life and we didn't have to be tucked away watching and monitoring.
Yeah, because the funny thing was, you were in summer camp at the time when you became thin and you got sick. And we figured there's no way you're going back to summer camp.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it was we found out the owner of the camp was diabetic and that he welcomed you with open arms to the camp.
Yeah.
And I guess the moral of the story should be that you should, once again, let people know about a diabetic, let them know if they can help, because most people out there want to do things for you and help. And the minute they hear something, they go with their best foot forward to try to help you. And that's what we found, I think, throughout our lives together. Whenever we had a problem or we would talk about it, people were there helping, doing, showing, inviting.
Yeah.
It just kept going on and on. So it sort of spread. So people shouldn't be afraid to talk about it with friends or new people and let them know what's going on with their child.
Yep. You find more times than not that people will actually take it on and prepare for you. I remember going to my best friend's house when I was young and her mom stocked up on cheese sticks because that was a snack I could have, or sugar-free candies, which we all know still have carbs, but the thought is there.
Right.
Things like that where people really, step up to the plate as opposed to hide from it. And I think that more people have it than you think as well, or know somebody who has it, understand it. Yeah, have family members. I think there was another camp I went to where the owner was type 1 diabetic, different camp, summer camp.
Sleepaway
Yep,
camp.
Sleepaway. So Sleepaway is a whole nother thing, right?
It was a whole nother thing. I guess our first thought is, I guess our kid could never go to sleepaway camp. And we were so wrong. She can go to sleepaway camp.
So I went to diabetes sleepaway camp first. So everybody had diabetes. Which
that was more of an educational, first-timers, kids that were recently diagnosed to be able to go get together.
Yep.
So that was one type of camp. But this second camp was regular camp. It wasn't just for diabetics. It was really a regular camp that diabetics could go to, because the owner was diabetic and his
wife was a pediatrician.
Was a pediatrician. She knew how to take care of diabetics.
So there was an abundance of diabetics at this, I want to say, normal sleepaway camp because they had everything in place to properly care for us. So, I mean, things like that, people you meet along the way, you just never know what you're going to find.
Right, and you had a great experience. I remember coming to visit you, and just like all the other kids, you come run to see the parents when they first come. Great day together. Yeah. We played ball, we watched you guys swim, we watched whatever things you were involved in.
Yeah.
And so as a parent, it was great to know that we could come visit you, that you were totally taken care of, that there were people there to help take care of you, that wanted to take care of you.
Yeah.
I guess that's the difference. It goes back to the 80-20 rule. So back from whether it's camp or now we go back to school or just to children and parents, then there were the other parents that you were never allowed to play with their kid at their house because they didn't want the responsibility. Yeah. You were never allowed to have a sleepover at their house because they didn't want the responsibility.
And it's fair. Either way is fair. You don't want to put that pressure on somebody.
Yes, all people are different the way they handle pressure.
Absolutely.
So you have to respect their opinion and their decision, even though it may hurt your child. I remember sometimes, Samantha, I think you'd be a little upset that you weren't invited somewhere. You couldn't sleep over that house.
Yeah.
I think it used to bother you sometimes, but we were like, okay, we'll just deal with it another way. And you were very easy to...
I like sleeping in my own bed.
Yeah.
So I don't think I was too upset.
And she liked being with us, so we always made it fun to be together. Always enjoyed being with my child.
Always something to do, somewhere to go, and nothing really mattered.
Yeah, I was always an adventurer, so to me it's like, okay, if I'm not working, let's go. We're going out. We're doing something.
Yeah. And we did everything. Air shows, Six Flags, doesn't matter where you're going. And when you go to Six Flags, you get to cut all the lines. You get a fast pass.
Right, Disney World. We definitely pulled the diabetic card at Disney World.
Love the diabetes card.
Front of the lines, because sometimes she'd be going low and we'd let them know at the front that, we have a diabetic child. If you could do anything to get us a table, so it's on time. And boom, every time we requested, everybody, I would say 99% of the people out there are wonderful to help you.
Yeah.
So it's a nice thing to know out there. There is lots of support out there. Just have to ask and let them know.
Yeah. And it always goes back to kind of being your own advocate and speaking up and saying, I am diabetic, I need these things, and people will generally be open to that and
Yes.
Want to help, not so much be angry or think that you're trying to pull one on them, which I think a lot of us live with a bit of not guilt, what's the word I'm looking at, Napoleon syndrome of sorts, well, I'm not really, or imposter syndrome, that's the word.
Right.
Like an imposter syndrome of well, if I say this, because I look so healthy, are they going to understand? Do they think we're being jerks?
Yeah.
I mean.
But then we could say, hey, Sam, show them. And she'd take out a needle and shoot it in your stomach.
Here you go.
And then she was the coolest kid in town. She's the only kid in town that gave herself her own flu shots.
Yes. I like to give myself all my own needles. Nice. I'm going to figure out Botox soon. I'll be able to do that myself. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you talked about soccer games and being at the sidelines with the Jews. My dad literally got as many steps as I did in a soccer game because heaven forbid he was not on the side of the field that I was on at all times. Basketball game, running up and down the court with a banana and a juice box.
Swimming.
No matter what.
It was always there. I never wanted her to miss a beat. That was, I took it from when the doctor told me, it's your responsibility to make sure that she doesn't know the difference. So it's up to you as the parent to be prepared all the time, ahead of time, for your child.
I really just thought I got extra snacks. It was actually probably the best.
Yeah, Samantha didn't know the difference. She just knew she got extra snacks.
It's oh, cool, banana.
And the other thing was, so as a young adult, if we weren't around to explain, you'd always be able to explain to a parent of what would happen in an emergency situation.
Yes.
Because that was also the thing we worried, what happens if you went low and needed a glucagon shot?
Yeah.
And we would always prepare by, you always had one, we always had an extra one.
And we'd show them on an orange.
Right, we would show on an orange. And we would explain to the parents, besides having our speed dial number, but the problem once again is there were no cell phones back then.
Exactly, you'd be out and about, you couldn't just call someone.
Right, so we had to make sure that she always had the extra equipment. So if we were with other parents, we always gave them a little bag, whether it was food, the glucagon gun, or numbers, and you had your own set of supplies. We always had that backup. Always had to make sure you had backup.
Some epic lows. I do remember going very low at the Grand Canyon. We went on a big walk in the sun with the family, and we got up to the top. I didn't even feel low. We got up to the top and we said, we got to get some food. It's it's lunchtime. Sam, check your blood. I was 32.
Yeah.
I will never forget that.
Yep. You've had some low lows and really high highs.
Whew. I was diagnosed, I think, what was I, 1600?
I thought it was 1200, maybe it was 1600. The doctor said they don't know how you were still conscious. You should have been unconscious and you should have been taken to the hospital on a stretcher.
They say that when I go out drinking too.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when you would ski, I was always afraid to let you go off on your own. If you wanted to ski on the slope, Dad let me go by myself. So I'd say, okay, you can go by yourself, and I'd let you go, and I'd be like 10 chairlifts behind you, trying to hide that you didn't see me so you could go on your own. But I always wanted to be around with all the supplies just in case. I was always afraid that something would happen, and I didn't want you to be scared.
Good thing I'm a very cautious, slow skier. Yeah. It's probably very easy to keep up. I'm not a very good skier.
So once again, there's nothing that Samantha couldn't do as long as she wanted to do it, and we could prepare around it. There's nothing, whether it was cold, warm, water.
It's a good way to put it, though. There's nothing you can't do. You just have to be willing to put in the effort to do it, right? Like everything you want to do, it's available to you. You just have to think about it a little more.
Yes, you've got to just prepare. Just prepare.
Thank you so much for joining us today. When it comes to having type 1 diabetes or raising somebody with type 1 diabetes, just remember that you can do it.
And love you.